Traditional fitness culture equates growth with exhaustion. You spend hours in the gym, completing endless sets and pushing to the point of physical nausea, under the assumption that this duration is what builds muscle. From a biological perspective, however, extra muscle is a liability. It is metabolically expensive, requiring a constant supply of calories just to maintain itself. High-volume training often results in systemic fatigue, taxing the central nervous system without necessarily providing the specific stimulus required. To overcome the body's resistance to adding new tissue, to signal the need for more muscle, we have to look for a specific mechanical threshold, a minimum effective dose that forces the body to adapt without requiring hours of general exhaustion. Moving from high-volume work to this more targeted approach requires a shift in how weight is moved, prioritizing mechanical accuracy over the total number of repetitions. The body builds muscle to reinforce its structure against localized mechanical trauma, adapting specifically to prevent that tissue from failing when exposed to the same stress again. This process starts at the microscopic level. During the upward, or concentric phase of a lift, muscle fibers slide together and shorten. While this phase requires metabolic energy and increases your heart rate, it produces relatively little structural damage. It is a high-energy, low-trauma movement. The primary driver for adaptation occurs when the weight is lowered. This is the eccentric phase, and it is where the most significant mechanical stress is applied to the tissue. During this phase, fibers are forcibly pulled apart while trying to contract against the weight. This creates microscopic tears. By extending this negative descent to 4 seconds, mechanical tension increases by up to 300%. Most training styles overlook this. By allowing gravity to drop the weight quickly, the most effective window for structural damage is effectively bypassed. Maximizing the time spent in this slow eccentric phase ensures the highest level of mechanical tension possible within the fewest number of repetitions.
This stimulus is amplified by a reflex at the very bottom of the movement. Deep inside the tissue are muscle spindles, which monitor the degree of stretch. When a muscle is placed under heavy load in a fully stretched position, these spindles
send an emergency signal to the brain, warning the tissue is reaching its mechanical limit. To trigger this reflex, the heavy weight must be held in that stretched position for 2 seconds, maintaining total control without any bouncing or momentum. In response to this signal, the body initiates a localized repair process, directing satellite cells to the area to reinforce the tissue fibers against future stress. Using momentum to bounce out of the bottom of a lift prevents these sensors from firing, leaving the potential for stretch-mediated growth untouched. Applying these mechanics requires a total shift in protocol. The first step is to reduce standard workout volume by half, removing sets that rely on fatigue rather than tension. The new limit is 2 working sets per exercise. This strict limit ensures you have enough energy to maintain the required technical control without overtaxing the nervous system. Every repetition follows this specific timeline: an explosive lift, a controlled 4-second descent, and a 2-second pause in the stretched position. These sets must be performed until the muscle reaches total failure, the point where a complete repetition is no longer possible despite your best effort. This approach delivers a high-intensity stimulus in less than 10 minutes. Once the mechanical trigger has been set, the body requires rest and nutrients to complete the actual construction of the tissue. Training is not an endurance contest. It's a precise mechanical dose. Once you deliver the signal, your work is done.